Hey everyone, Melanie Minshinger here, illustrator for Gina K Designs. Today I have a new project for you with my newest set from Gina K Designs, Embroidered Flowers, and I'm going to be showing this design using the embroidery hoop from my friend and fellow designer and illustrator on our design team, Lisa Hetrick. This is her You Being You set. So I was just so excited when I saw that she was coming out with this hoop because I knew that a month later I was going to be coming out with this embroidered flowers set. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do this and how you're going to make this white cardstock look like cloth. It's so easy and so fun to do. The products and tools that you're going to need for this, in addition to these two stamp sets, both from Gina K Designs, going to be using a MISTI for stamping out that hoop, and then I've also got a smaller block for doing some of those smaller images. So just a small acrylic block will do. The cardstock that I'm using today, I've got the Gina K Pure Luxury Plum Punch, and this is 4 1/4 by 11 inches. I'm going to go ahead and score that really quickly with my score buddy at 5 1/2. So we're going to have a top fold A2 size card here. And then I've also got a piece of white cardstock, and this is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I have already done my die cutting of that hoop. So let me show you this die set. So you can purchase this separately. It's called You Being You die set. And so I'm just using this one hoop. So the fun thing about this is the die is held together, but these little bars are going to cut it so that you can pop this part out and you can have them on different layers with your foam squares. It's also going to prevent us from having to do any masking around that edge so that we're not getting the stamping onto that embroidery hoop. So that is a fun and easy way to do it. So just for the sake of time, I went ahead and ran this through my Cuttlebug ahead of time. So you will need some kind of thing to do that die cutting with, in addition to the die set. The adhesives that I've got today, I've just got some of the Gina K foam squares and the tape runner from Thermoweb. The ink pads that I'm going to be using today, I have got the Gina K Fresh Asparagus, the lovely Lavender, and the Plum Punch for those flowers and leaves. I've got the jet black Amalgam for that hoop. And then I've got the soft stone for doing the needle. I didn't put that on the design, but I think I'm going to add it today. Then we're going to have just a few markers that I'm going to be using to color in the hoop and then to do my shadow. So I have got the A753. This is the stone gray. This is found in that large set of 120 markers that I've got, but you could also it's also found in the set of 36 of the gray tones. And then the light brown that I'm using today, this is called Tan Rose. It's A609. This is found in the set of, what's it called? Let's see. The portrait tones. So it's got browns, pinks, beiges, a lot of nice flesh and hair colors. So those are the two that I'm using from Arteza. And then to cut this, you can either use scissors. I just do freeform cutting here. I don't draw it or anything. So you can use scissors, or you can use a knife blade and then just make sure that you have a self-healing mat underneath. So let's go ahead and begin. And I am going to first stamp this hoop into the die cut. So I'm going to put these stamp sets aside. Put this aside. And then I've also got my little tidy towel handy for cleaning my stamps. So that's from Gina K as well. And thank you so much for being patient with me while I came back for another video. Something died under my office. I'm not even kidding. Some little animal or something. We have a pier and beam house. And the smell was just so bad back here for several days. The unmistakable smell of death. I could not do any kind of crafting. Couldn't even walk back here to get some supplies to go in another room. So anyway, thank you for your patience. Okay, so what I'm going to do, this is going to help me with placing this. I am going to just line this up inside of my MISTI, and I'm going to get the hoop from her You Being You set. And so I'm just going to lay this, and I did it just slightly askew. Let me put down my magnet bar to keep that from moving around. So just place that right in there. And this is going to ensure that that stays lined up in the die. Pardon my head if I get in the way. Close that door. Pick it up. Just pop that right back in. So now I'm going to ink this up with my jet black. And one thing I like to do with a large stamp like this, I do this with my frame stamps as well, is that I pick it up just on one side and I let that air bubble out that sometimes will get in the middle of a large stamp like this. And that's going to prevent me from getting ink all over that hoop. And I'm also going to grab that tidy towel because I am getting some ink onto that door. So I'm just going to go around, wipe that off. Okay. And if there's any area that I didn't get inked up on the hoop, that's the beauty of this MISTI, that I can stamp it again. So just press that down, lift it up. So I'm going to put it back in there, and I thought that I needed to do just a little bit more on that one side. It didn't look quite as dark. So just press that back in. And if you do get it in the middle, you can take that tidy towel, and I moistened it already, and just go in the middle to take that out. So just stamp this one more time. Really press all over. Put that away. Whoa. And okay, so there's our hoop. So I'm just going to do some very simple coloring on this. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave this open because I really like to have this foam pad underneath it for doing all of that stamping on my, all of my stamping on the, of the embroidered flowers, just because you see so much more detail in those stitches when you've got the foam under it versus a hard pad that wants to press that ink into those little creases. Okay, so I'm just going to, and you don't have to line this up each time, but I'm sticking that on there. So I'm going to do the greeting first to make sure that I have plenty of room for my greeting. So here is my set. So I'm going to do, I've got a bunch of birthdays coming up, so I'm going to make another birthday one here. And I'm going to put it right about, I think I'm going to do it here on this one. I'm going to do this one with just a little bit different layout. So I'm going to just put that right over both, so that's not going to move. And close the door. I'm going to do this with the plum ink. You might choose to use the black though, just depending on how dark you want it to be. And close that. And if I don't have it as bold as I want, then I can redo it, but that looks great. So now let's go ahead and let's add some flowers. So to show you my original one, I did a little bit of direct to stamp by rolling the plum onto the already lovely lavender inked images. So I think I'm going to do that again. So let's see, I think I want to use, see if I want to use the same flowers. I do, because I haven't used this one yet, I don't think. So the one that kind of looks like it could be a tulip or a wine cup or some other kind of flower. Just I have so much stuff on my desk right now. I just haven't cleaned up in here because of what I mentioned before. Okay, so I'm going to use my smaller one here just because I want to be able to ink, re-ink, and move this around. So I'm going to use the lighter ink first. Then I'm going to just tap that onto the bottom with the plum punch. And let me move this just so that I have room. Okay, so I'm going to put one here, and I'm going to ink this up again and do one down here. Okay, isn't that pretty? And then let's do some stems. So I have a couple different stems in here. One is a little bit longer than the other one, a little bit bolder. And you're going to be able to go either direction with this, just depending on how you turn it on your block. And we're going to go back to these purples so that I can just add a few little buds. So I'm going to use this fresh asparagus. This is one of my favorite greens. And I'm just going to angle that so that the end of it is going through the center of the flower. And then this one, I'm going to go just from the edge. So I'm going to find the middle as if it's going through that flower, and then have it so it is touching that stem below. And then we're going to just pick out just some leaves to do with this. Actually, I'm going to do just a couple more little stems because I want it to look like there are those little buds. Turn one this way. And then you can also use these for grass. So I'm going to just have these going at different angles. And I'm just stamping off just so that I have just some variety. Okay, so there's my little grassy scene that's developing. And then I'm going to do, let's see, what leaves do I want to use? I've done a bunch of different leaves here. Oh, I want to also do this one. So let me add this. I think I can put that, yeah, right about here. Okay, so I'm going to add a bud here. And then this is a two-step image. So it has this closed flower. And so again, I'm going to ink this. I'm going to do this one. A little more of that plum coming up to the top. You know, the way that some flowers, they get darker as they mature and some get lighter. Okay, so there's that one. And then I'm just going to take this other little stamp that is meant to be used, point to which one I'm showing you, meant to be used inside of these flowers that look like roses or poppies, but you can also use it as just these little tiny, teeny tiny buds. So I'm going to do these in the lighter purple. Here, here. Okay. All right, so that's done. Now let's go back and color that hoop. So we're going to give some dimension here to this hoop. So I'm going to take my markers and put this out of the way. Let me get some things out of the way here just so I have more room and can really focus on the card. And I'll bring this over so you can see where we're going with it. So first I just want to color in this hoop. And this is a slightly darker color than I used before. So there's a fine tip and a chisel tip. I think I'm going to use the chisel just to go a little bit faster. So it has a skinny edge to it and then a fat edge. So either side that you want to use. And just spin that around. Okay, so now we've just simulated that wood. Okay. And then you can also take this gray and just color in just the top of that where there's that little metal bracket or screw to close the hoop. And then what I'm going to do is I want to add a little bit of a shadow here at the top to look like there's light coming from the top and it's casting a little bit of a shadow to the inside of that, okay? So all I did is I just traced over it there. And then I'm going to go below this and put it under the underside of that hoop. Okay? Now what I want to do is I am going to cut some of, I'm going to do one side of it with the scissors so you can see, and then the other side with that craft knife. Either will work. And I'm just going back and forth so it kind of looks like a big sunny side up egg. And you can, I have the border showing around the edge of it, but if you don't want that border showing, then just cut it 4 1/4 across the way that you have it for your card. Oh, and I said I was going to do the knife. So let me do the knife. So I'm just going to go back and forth and just making a wavy cut. Just the way that a round piece of fabric would just hang and drape A little bit off there. And this is a self-healing mat, so protects your work surface, but it also just fills right back in when you do cuts. Just that little bit to come off. Okay, so what I want to do here next is, and I didn't do that shadow on here, but that was something that I wish that I had done. So if you go back and you already mounted it, you could just fill in here by putting it, so you can add your shadow afterwards if you forget, no big deal. Just down there. Okay. All right, so what I'm doing is I am trying to make some folds, and I meant to bring some fabric in here so I could just kind of show you how it drapes to give you an idea of when you make the folds, but it's gonna create these folds and creases. This is a blanket. It doesn't look anything like the material that you would use for embroidery, but that was the only thing I had handy. So what I want to do is I'm gonna just kind of make some V's, and they're gonna kind of mimic, it's gonna fall into these areas where you see I came in with my scissors or my knife, and this one is a little bit darker than what I used on that. But so you're just creating kind of like these little valleys up next to the hoop. And it doesn't have to be precise, but it's just gonna be just enough. Some under here. And you're really going to be able to see the illusion come to life when you put all this on the card. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take that tape runner and adhere this to the base. Let's go right there. That. Okay. And then I'm going to put this on here, and this is going to help me place this. So I put all of it on foam squares, but on this one, I am going to actually do this a little bit lower. So I'm going to leave that on there. And I'm put just a little tape inside. I just want it to have a little more dimension and make you see that hoop standing out. And that's really going to pop more if I adhere this one down separately. Okay, so I've got that, and now I'm going to take those foam squares and I'm just going to cut these in half so that I can put them around the edge of that hoop. So put one here at the top, the bottom, and then just a couple more here on the sides, and we'll be done. And then if you want to add, you know, I wish I had, let me go in real quick, and I'm just going to add a little flower and a little something extra to the back. Since I've got my stamps out already, you know, just I always recommend that you go in and just make it a little bit more personalized with those images. So I'm just going to add just a few little flowers at the bottom. Maybe do one here on the back. And then inside. And just, it brings the outside of it in. Makes your card look that much coordinated. And then take it a step further, and I don't have my envelopes over here. Here's one. Here, I'll just do it right now. Here's my envelope. And so it just looks perfectly coordinated now. So this is for my friend that she's got a birthday. A little bit late, but she understands. Okay, so there's my envelope. And then we'll go ahead and just adhere this, and then we'll be done. And that's it, the card's complete. So I love using these sets together. I just think it's so fun when we're able to get even more out of our sets, and how just the styles work so well together, our ideas work so well together, and we're just able to support each other. in this lovely craft and stamping and card making community. Okay, so then I'm just going to lay this on here and line up that top tab and stick it down. And I want to put one more little piece just right under there. So if you have a piece that's popping up because it's skinny, go ahead and put this on like that. And the card's complete. The next video I think I'm going to show you how to do this embossed resist that I shared in our Instagram hop, so make sure that you come back for that. Check out our store, Gina K Designs. You'll find these stamp sets and all the other supplies that I've showed there online. I hope you'll visit me at my blog, Hands, Head, and Heart, and check out my other videos and my playlists. Thanks so much for watching today. God bless.